And welcome back. Congrats to everyone that participated in the quiz. Keep that engagement up. Be commenting, asking questions over the course of our Prepathon. So welcome back. We're going to be doing now a session called Unlocking Website Excellence. We're going to be doing some in-depth website performance analysis and recommendations. We have three amazing panelists that will be joining me on stage here, and I'm going to be introducing them one by one. So we've got Carolyn Shelby. Carolyn specializes in technical and enterprise SEO and helps corporations adjust their structure to focus on making the most of new media. So Carolyn, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
We've got, and Carolyn, you're from Yoast, yes?
Yes, I'm with Yoast.
Yeah, so Yoast, we all love Yoast, right?
Yay.
Like UGURUS, we're Yoast fans, lots of Yoast in our business. Next up, we've got Georgi Petrov. Georgi is the founder of Nitropack, a popular WordPress performance plugin and specializes in web optimization and load times. Along with that, he also founded SMS Bump, a text message marketing tool. I know lots of fans out there for Nitropack. So Georgi, welcome to the program.
Pleasure being here. Thank you.
Yeah. You're going to show us up on website performance and speed, man. I think you're going to have some good insights. And then we've got Robert Jacobi, a good friend of mine, and excited to have Robert on the program today. Robert has vast experience working in the cloud industry and was recently with Cloudways as director of WordPress. He also volunteers for Big Orange Heart as part of the board of directors. And he's going to be helping us with some UI, UX insights, as well as his vast WordPress experience. So Robert, good to have you here, man.
Thanks so much, Brent. Really happy to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. So let's dig in. I think you all have some websites that we're going to be looking at and doing some kind of live reviews. So let's get started. Who's got our first site that we're going to be reviewing here?
Who's our first victim, Brent? I mean, example.
Yeah, let me just grab here from the team.
I'm guessing it's Guy Michaels or pro voice actor.
Yeah, we can start there. Are you able to pull that one up, Robert?
Oh, yeah. I'm on there. Do you need me to do something?
I believe you can share screen.
Oh, wow. Now you're getting crazy, Brent. Welcome to BFCM Fun Times. Let me just drag that up there. Absolutely. Share screen. We're doing it live. We're doing it for real. There we go. What's your first question, Brent? Is it Guy or Guy?
All right, we're gonna, and I want to just first show appreciation for the folks that have allowed us to review their sites live, because anytime putting your business in the hot seat for a couple of experts to give feedback on is definitely a big jump. Olivia, we're gonna do some live reviews around website optimization, SEO, as well as UI, UX. So our first site that we're looking at today is Guy Michaels here. So yeah, why don't you start us off there, Robert, on the UI? Like, what are you feeling there?
I'm going to tell you, I love that the site drives with what it does best. So the voice reel, the narration, getting right into the video, it works great on mobile. I've looked at all these that we'll talk about on mobile extensively, because that's really how 90% of the world looks at all these websites. As much as we like developing for desktop because it's more fun and entertaining, there's a lot of call to actions that we want to be able to run through, which you, Brent, mentioned in the quiz just a few minutes ago. So I love that Work with Guy is right there, so you can do that right away. You can see what is going to happen I love it. It's actually fantastic. It may not be like visually the most entertaining experience, but it's going to do the job that it needs to do for, pretty much 95% of the people coming to it.
Let's look at our other panelists here. I don't know if you've been able to run any performance analysis, Georgi, on this website. How are we looking?
Yeah, thanks. So basically, I just opened the website and checked it, and okay, I think it's best to share my screen as well. Let me go ahead and share it. All right. All right. The first thing that I did is basically to run like Google Page Speed Insights report. And honestly, like there was very little room to improve something. I just see that the largest contentful paint is a little bit like over the limit, which is 2.5 seconds. We should know that this is like not a field test. This is a lab test. We don't have real user data yet on this website. And more or less, we are looking on a almost consistent environment, but still it's not the real environment. It's not like the real situation, like how these users of this website like interact with the website. The number one reason not to have core Web Vitals data is just because Google has not been able to collect enough real users and their experience. Probably the website is either having low visitors or it's pretty new. I don't want it. Of these reasons are like usually the case. Honestly, I just checked the website. I saw that actually it runs on Nitropack. I was a little bit surprised, and like we have very little room of improvement here. It's coming from the LCP, and the reason to generate this LCP is basically we obviously have some scripts that are generating that are blocking the main thread, and that are used for painting. The way browsers and the way Google wants Core Web Vitals wants you to serve this page is to basically paint it and not use JavaScript to do like the painting for you. And this is happening to a little bit of an extent, and we have some opportunities. Very likely there is some third-party script involved here. It should be deep dived, but generally it's in a pretty good level in terms of page speed optimization. Yeah, just as an advice, probably like isolating some third-party script, putting it in a web worker, or lazy loading it might actually fix that problem. That's more or less my think about this website.
Georgi, if I can ask you a quick question about displaying images versus conversions. How does that actually look to you?
For this website or in general?
Well, let's start with this website because we have a great example, but then, in general.
Yeah, the images of these websites, they have some impact on the LCP, but they don't seem to be the main impact. So it's more likely to me that it's script related. And zooming out of this website, talking in general, so images are great as long as they are served in an unobstructive way and they don't block the main thread. They're not that heavy. They're served from a CDN and they are lazy loaded. So my strong advice is for anyone who would like to use like image heavy pages, just to focus on this part of the website. It's called above the fold. And because this part of the website, it's what's actually important, and it usually has the LCP element. And if you basically focus here and serve a very well optimized image or images, then you can lazy load anything that is under the above the fold, and it can load on demand. You can have as many images as you want. They will load on demand, and that will be totally okay. it's not actually the images that are the big problem. It's the way that they are served and the way that they are rendered. That's usually what causes the frictions with the user experience.
So
right.
Georg, you mentioned a couple times above the fold and the images and how they're being served. Sorry, Brent, I'm cutting you off. Carolyn's gonna
So
kill
hey,
me.
Robert, I have moderator controls. I can just zoom you off the screen entirely if it gets too unruly here. But anyways, what's your question for Georgie?
The biggest question is we've talked for 2 decades about above the fold, and that keeps changing depending on the device you utilize. So that's what I'm curious about. How, what's the impact of above the fold mean these days?
The impact is huge because the above the fold is the first content that you as a visitor actually perceive once you initiate a navigation. So when I initiate a navigation on about, if I wait more than 2 seconds, I start to be usually in general, people start to be nervous about 2.5, 3 or more. We start to see unproportional drop-off rate at that moment. And why we see it is not because the web page has not loaded. It's only because the above the fold is not showing me enough feedback to understand what's going on. And that's why it's super important to have a responsive above the fold. Basically you need to have a navigation response. And it's all that matters is above the fold, because we as humans, we need a few seconds to process what's going on above the fold, and then we're going to take a decision. Either we're going to scroll or we're going to interact.
Love it. Carolyn, you've been deep in thought. I'm hoping that you're looking at some SEO stats and reports on your end. What's Guy Michael's website showing us on the SEO front?
Well, so just looking at the homepage, I had some questions about the choices that we're making about what we'd like to rank for. If I were to go look at the SEMrush report, for example, it looks like, and based on the domain name, that voiceover actor is the term that we're targeting, but the word actor doesn't really appear on the homepage. The word actor doesn't appear in any of the H tags. It's always artist. So I feel like we need to make a choice between, do we want to go after artist or do we want to go after actor? Actor probably is probably a more transactional term, which is what you want if you want to be hired. The way to verify that or check that would be perhaps to consult Google Trends. You can also do a test in SEMrush if you're looking to see what has a higher search volume. You can look to see who your competitors are. If there is a particular guy that, I hate him, he's my enemy kind of guy, and he's going after actor, that might be the term you want to go after so you can outrank him and feel a little bit better about yourself. So the big concern there is that if the term that we want to go after is actor, and it is provoiceactor.co.uk, I would make sure that it appears a little bit more frequently in the text, because just like in the olden days of SEO, if you want to rank for a word, you need to say it on the page somewhere. The other thing that kind of jumped out at me, there's something in the way that the videos and the audio files are being embedded, where all of that text, all of that code is being picked up by the scanners, the tools that I'm using to look at what keywords are on the page. So it's a lot of really not relevant terms like nth child and 9,999 pixels and clamp and important and 0 pixels. It's just, there's a lot of code that's showing up that probably shouldn't be. And the way this is going to be an issue just in that it's going to dilute the value of the phrases and terms that you would like to rank for. Is there an easy way to hide that so that it's not being picked up or detectable? I don't know off the top of my head. I would really have to kind of dig into that and see how that's being embedded. But if you use SEO Quake, which is a Chrome plugin, and you look at the page info for the homepage, most of the keywords that show up just in that first result are all related to the embed code, which I can see would be maybe a little bit of a problem. So just right off the top of my head, those are the things I would look at. Make sure that you're focusing on the phrases that you want to rank for, and then say those frequently, not too frequently, but reasonably in your text. The difference between artist and actor, Google's good at understanding synonyms, but it's not that difference is maybe not, it may be a little bit too much to bridge that gap. So I would check that. I would look to see how these things are being embedded, because there's something wonky with that, and I think it's diluting your value there. And what was the other thing I said? Oh, those might have been it. I don't want to take up too much time, but just off the top of my head, those are the things that I would check.
Brent, we can't hear you.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, it was. I don't know if I was the first one to have my mute on while I'm talking today at the first day of the Prepathon, but maybe I get that award. But just having that British voiceover as the page title, that assuming the H1, and then as well as that. So you're saying like to vary that up a little bit if they're going after multiple terms.
Well, so British voiceover isn't really. British voiceover is ambiguous. Is this providing a British voiceover? Does he want people to hire him? Is it Guy Michaels, British voiceover actor? I mean, based on the domain, I would say this is a showcase for his voiceover talents. So I would maybe be a little bit more specific in that H1 and say, British voiceover actor, add that on to the end of it. Make sure that his name is associated with it so that we really hammer home that this is his page and it's not that he's an agency or anything else, because Guy Michaels does sound like it could be a fancy agency. I would be a little bit more specific with that to make it clear that that's what you were looking at, because we can't rely on the machines to make correct assumptions if we're leaving a little bit too much to the imagination. Love
it. Great feedback. Let's jump to our next site. This is Jay Rosario. And I'm going to go ahead and accept my notice here. I don't know if there's any, if we want to talk about that before we get into the site, but it does appear that the site is grayed out with the cookie notice. And I'll go ahead and click got it. And there we go. Now we're onto the website. So Robert, we'll come back to you on the UI UX standpoint. What are you feeling?
Hold on. I'm pulling this up on my phone because that's how most people will pull it up. And last I checked, there is a chatbot that says howdy right away. And I'm thinking, well, I just want to find some nice shoes, and I'm getting a howdy. So yeah, I'm going to be nitpicky about pop-ups, obfuscations, chatbots, and all this stuff that really gets in the way of folks who even might have a little bit of inclination of what they want to accomplish. And these are all just bumps in the road for them to actually get to the product and get to the cart. Don't throw up in my book, don't throw up a chatbot until someone asks for it.
Can I jump in real quick with the chatbot? I did a talk a few years ago where I likened the chatbot that pops up right away to the guy at the bar that like is right in the girl's face the second she walks into the bar. It's like she's been there a tenth of a second. He's like, "Hey, can I have your number?" It's like, my dude, calm down.
Thank you. Over.
It says howdy, right? So this is the guy, the bar, howdy, right? Like, but I think, outside of the chatbot, any other components around, looks like we have a outdated sale. So there is a launch here that does seem like it might have passed.
Well, it passed like what? I'm looking at the date. I can't even do the math on this. 45 days ago? Wow. But I don't even notice that because of the chatbots.
Robert, I think you have some past experience with a chatbot that went south or something, right? So any other so I guess one question I have, because this comes up a lot, right? Like the homepage hero element right here. It's an e-commerce site. It's static. I do like that. It says stand out, make a statement. We're seeing one product here. Now, I don't know anything else about this brand. I see a belt. I see shoes. My assumption is these are some nice shoes. This is probably a nice brand. How should an e-commerce, like, should they show one product on the homepage? Should they show multiple products? What should I be able to browse above the fold when I'm coming to a site like this? Is it I guess what's your perspective, Robert? Like, should we go all in on like one product? Should we show a few products? Should we do an animated carousel? Like, what's your take?
My feeling is that so much of the world is mobile that, yeah, have that one great image. And frankly, I love these shoes; they're gorgeous. But make that completely clickable, so it says, browse our catalog. Purchase this now. Some kind of complete call to action that takes folks who are already inspired by that kind of look, that kind of product, and drive them down the funnel. Yes, I said funnel.
I didn't even notice this, but this image is not clickable. So, I mean,
Right.
I don't know if I would say that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
We're probably in the 7 deadly sins zone of that one, of having this very large masthead that has no engagement on it. So that would definitely be something to fix there.
So just for fun, it literally takes up half of my phone and is not clickable. This is
either
an atrocity. If you're trying to do something for Black Friday and Cyber Monday on Cloudways, don't make this not clickable.
And this is the fun of, like, you put your website out there for our team of experts to look at. I'm sure if I was Josh over at J Rosario, right, I'm going to fix this right away. But definitely having professionals look at your stuff, because you might be looking at your business every day and there's something that you just naturally don't see. And then people like Robert open it up and just immediately it's like, hey, let's make some clear CTAs on there. Georgi, tell us about the speed of this site. What are we doing in terms of optimization? How's it loading up?
All right. Yeah, I can speak a lot on this website. It has lots of opportunities to improve. Let me share my screen.
Yeah.
All right. So this website has three main issues. These are, like, first being images, second being scripts, and third being too big of a DOM size. Just the page is too big, too many DOM elements. It's not like one size fits all approach how to fix these issues, but these are like the three main issues of these websites. I would like to just focus your minds on the total blocking time. Basically, that's the time where you as a visitor have loaded the site. You see it's like, presumably, like, you see some bytes being loaded and some content being patent, and you cannot interact with it. The largest contentful page is huge, and overall, like, the images have lots of opportunities. You can basically take out all the off-screen images and just lazy load them. You can optimize them. You can put them in the right sizes. You can use adaptive image sizing. You can even if you don't use the right sizes, you can at least use the right containers of the device that we're currently looking at. We have JavaScript that is being run that's actually not being used for the purposes of displaying and interacting with this page. And the total main thread work is like almost 25 seconds. That's browsers, like, they're single threaded, and like, having this browser tab being blocked for like 25 seconds, it's huge. Regarding the DOM size, basically the HTML is too big. I would suggest to, like, obviously the easy solution is just to minimize it and to go and edit your page and remove like a bunch of things on the page that are like at the very bottom, but also you can have the opportunity to load the repetitive elements on demand, which is something that's like pretty like new, but some folks are already using it as an approach. So yeah, that's basically like tons of opportunities to this website. And being that it has an e-commerce operation, definitely this website is leaving money on the table and not being able to convert like as much as they would be if they had an optimized website. That's my take.
Yeah. So obviously some large opportunities on the performance side here. So that's something that yeah, those scores are giving me an OCD twitch. I think Samantha might be a web developer that's going, I would like to get access to this thing and help speed it up, right? Carolyn, on the SEO front, obviously with e-commerce, SEO is an important source of traffic. What are you seeing with your analysis?
So the just very, very basic level, the title and the meta description do not say that this place sells shoes. I don't even know.
Well, Carolyn, you win. We're done. You're 100% correct.
I feel like there should, so the title tag is J. Rosario, a bold twist on classic designs. Not, doesn't say shoe designs though. And the meta description is very short. It's only 87 characters, so it could be a lot longer. Make a statement without saying a word. That word should be shoes. Discover the impeccable craftsmanship of shoes, presumably. Yeah, so there's that. And then, like with the last site we saw, if you want to rank for something, you do need to tell, just be a little blunt occasionally about the thing that you're selling. So when I look at all of the header tags, and there are quite a few of them, for example, there's 79 H3s on just the homepage. None of them contain the word shoe. It's color descriptions. I take that back. There's one H2 that says million pairs of shoes discarded each year. But I would offer that discussing discarded shoes is probably not going to make people want to buy shoes. So there's that. The other thing that kind of jumped out was that there's 93 images on the page, which I'm assuming, based on what I see, are all actual images of merchandise that don't have any alt text either. So there's an opportunity to also say shoes. If you're describing the Freedom Collection are, their shoes. They have a particular patina to them. You have to say men's shoes though. They're not women's shoes. They're not ladies' shoes. They're not children's shoes. They're men's high-end luxury shoes. So we need to make a little bit more of an effort you don't have to be ham-fisted about it, but you do have to be clear and unambiguous so that it's obvious to everyone, including the machines that are not good at picking up subtle clues, that you are selling high-end luxury men's shoes.
Sorry, Brent, if I could just interrupt with Carolyn. So if I'm hosting my site on Cloudways, utilizing Yoast to improve SEO, I should do some thinking about how I want to describe what my website does and who the audience is.
That's what I would say. Yeah, it's difficult to rank for a term if you don't specifically say what that term is at some place on the page. Now, if you did have a plugin like Yoast, you would be able to set some defaults for like the image alts, and it would be less of an issue to insert those into all of the pictures, but you would still want to take the time to fill those all out. Now, I'm assuming if this is WordPress, it would be running WooCommerce. We do have a WooCommerce plugin as well that helps you not only with making sure that you've got all of these items filled out properly, but it can offer suggestions because I don't believe it's out yet, but it's coming out soon. There'll be an AI boost for the WooCommerce plugin specifically. So if you get tired of writing their shoes over and over again in these alts, you'll be able to click the little AI, and the AI will offer you creative ways of saying their shoes. So it's not 9,000 9,000 rows of the exact same descriptive text. But yeah, I feel like there's a little bit of descriptive work that could be done that would really move the needle a lot.
But as I understand it, Carolyn, that if I'm using Yoast with a site on Cloudways doing WooCommerce, that AI will actually, please correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I see it going is that I don't need to worry about some of sort of the like basic images. Like it will automatically do the alt tags for men's shoes or men's brown shoes or however we want to go down that road.
So the initial rollout is not going to include reading the image and then offering what is in the image. It's going to rely on some of the basic things that you've already set for the image. Presuming, this could be a big assumption, presuming that WooCommerce is set up so that WooCommerce knows that these are in the shoe category, that would help the AI then make the correct assumptions about what inputs to use to generate that text. If for some reason your developer decided to call the shoe category widgets, that is going to confuse the AI right now, because the AI, the functionality right now is not yet at a place where it can just look at the picture and tell you what's in the picture. That's coming, but I don't have a timeline on that.
How well does Yoast yell at people for not doing that correctly, and even sort of tie into the accessibility aspects of it? I mean, I know Yoast will yell at you if you don't have tags filled out, but does it yell at you? When I say yell at you, I mean try to generate a workflow to make.
Yeah, I was going to say the Dutch don't really yell at people. Like they're not angry like that, so it never really yells.
Yell.
That's a good question. And I would have to say mostly because I'm not in the habit of skipping things to fill out. It does pop up a little box and warn you, or you'll get the dreaded red light if you fail to do something. So I don't think it's aggressive about it. But if you're concerned about making Yossi happy and getting that green light, then you would know that I've forgotten something, or I've done something wrong because I do not have the happy green light.
I'm trying to find my Yoast swag as we speak, and I can't.
So I think just looking at the site, it seems like SEO hasn't been their top priority. Like I think if you look at the shop page, the details pages, etc., we're not seeing clear descriptive title tags. We're not seeing alt tags. We're not seeing those descriptive words.
The alt tags, especially, that should be. Yeah. I mean, that should be table stakes right there. I would, if you had to pick a place to start, you start with the alt tags, especially for an image, an important image heavy site. Like if they were just filler images, that's one thing, but they're product images. You have to have good descriptive text in those product images.
But I mean, that's just even I'm going to run the accessibility thing. You want to have something for everything, even if it's like skip me. I'm going to use this image.
Yeah. There are things you can do to satisfy the requirement, but not actually be useful. But these should be useful. They're important images.
I'd love to grab an audience question here real quick. This is coming in from Amir Hamza, and let me see if I can put this. What are the challenges and opportunities of international SEO in targeting global audiences? So, I mean, these are some pretty nice shoes. I would assume that this is probably a global audience. Maybe, I don't know. But any insights on international SEO and targeting global audiences, Carolyn?
Depending on how different the languages are, if it's a significantly different language, I would consider having a different language version of the site that has all of the translated terms on the page, and then having an hreflang table that would route the user to the language of their choice. Oh, there's that howdy button again.
Should we live chat with the live chat on the no, we won't. We'll leave them on that one.
Probably shouldn't. We'll leave them alone.
So considerations around, what languages and what audiences you're serving your website in.
Yeah, I mean, if you're planning on just speaking English to everyone and using that one site to target everywhere, you would still need to make it clear that you do deliver to all of those countries that you're trying to target. You would want to have some backlinks from those countries, maybe list stockists, or have a page that indicates that you do have some kind of relationship with those other countries. I believe you should be able to do the basic SEO and still do international. Depending on the country, though, it changes the guidance depending on which countries you're targeting.
Yeah. Well, let's keep moving. We've got a couple more websites we want to cover in today's live session. So I know we've all been looking at shoes for a while. I'm going to be like, I don't know, Robert, have you bought some Jay Rosarios yet?
I love, well, I just used to call them floor chimes back in the day, but I love the wingtip with a little bit of decoration. Georgi, что ты думаешь? So we were talking about SEO and multilingual, multicultural, localized SEO. I have to jump in on this, even though I'm not a SEO tech person. Brent's like, oh my gosh, how do we get Robert off this call? One of the things that Joomla did very well from the early days is support multilingual localization. And to Carolyn's point, if you're going to have different content based on a different language or localization, you're better off kind of having sort of that /EN/DE/FR, because that content may be dramatically different. With the NASA.gov site that was announced during WordCamp US, they talked about that and having multilingual sites, and those other languages will actually be microsites in the grand scheme of things, because they can't translate hundreds of thousands of pages of content in real time.
Well, and the translations aren't always great.
And that's the problem, Carolyn. They're trying to do it with real translators. So again, the amount of content to make it meaningful, it's just going to wind up as microsites to just get piece by piece slowly out there, as opposed to use AI or some kind of automation.
And that's where that href lane comes in.
Yep. Thank you.
We're gonna change topics here. Now, instead of thinking about our footwear, we're going to go to a blogging website called Sweeten My Life. Sweeten My Life with homemade delights. So looks like there's some interesting beverages and food that we'll be looking at over the next few minutes. Georgi, I want to start with performance on this one. Because it's a blogging website, I assume performance is really important, because probably, I haven't clicked into this website yet, but I would assume that they're going to be making money off of ads or some other types of offers on the website. So the site loading fast and in loading for search engines probably is going to be at the top of my list of priorities. How is Sweeten My Life on your benchmarking?
Yeah, that's right. That's right, Brent. Performance is really important, and I just want to briefly mention that actually for almost every website, possibly beside your tax office website, performance is important. And it's important in a different way. So yeah, usually for content publishers, the performance is important because they want to have longer visitor journeys. They want to have more pages being browsed, ultimately results in more ads being served, and more revenue. So let me briefly share my screen.
I might be too close to lunchtime to be browsing this website responsibly. Just a heads up here. I'm already hungry.
Responsibly or responsively?
I'll let the audience decide on that one. So what are we looking at here, Georgi? How is this site doing in terms of performance?
Yeah, so the website is doing generally good. It has a few opportunities that actually can make it even better. They're mainly related to the mobile rendering, and they're mainly related to JavaScript and a little bit of images. So the JavaScripts here are mostly third party related, and here is the classical story of, hey, I have Google Ads or have DoubleClick ads in this sense. Why are they impacting my page load time? Well, very simply because they are a third party and they usually heavy, and they usually do painting with these JavaScripts, which is not the most fluent browser rendering experience. And unfortunately, these are your ads and they generate revenue, but at the same time, they impact the user experience. That's not unsolvable. We have multiple ways to approach this problem. Some ads are solved in one way, others in another. Usually, the typical way would be try to delay them or lazy load them, depending on the approach and the strategy you are with. You can also try to put some of the third-party scripts in web worker just to get out of the main thread. The tricky part here is which script should be chosen. Every script should be chosen very carefully because sometimes the ads might start to load inconsistently when you delay them. And that's why it's very important to know which ad scripts, how it should be delayed. So basically we have a strategy for every script, what's the best approach to delay it. And the feedback loop in this case, because this is critical to the revenue of the business on these ads, the feedback loop should be you do the optimization, you test on different devices. Now it's automated nowadays. You test on different devices, you test in different geos, deploy to live, everything is okay, then you keep it as it is. And if it doesn't work, you adjust again, optimize again, and try again. But ultimately, yes, optimizations are possible. They're just not as straightforward as they look. And we have a little bit of images opportunities, so just about the sizes and proper containers. This will be always a device-specific thing. They're easy to solve and pretty risk-free to solve as an opportunity. And generally, the website is pretty good, pretty performant, I would say. And when it gathers enough real users to be browsing it, it's very likely to see core web vitals passed, at least on desktop for sure. On my mobile, we'll see. Very likely it will be either passing or on the border of passing. And it will require just a little bit of more effort to make it pass.
Yeah, and it's interesting that we have the ad inclusion there. I've been browsing the website in the background, trying to find where the ads are on the website. So I'm not sure if the owner of this business has temporarily taken them off, but I actually can't see the ads being delivered. And so I'm not sure if they're just collecting that traffic to pixel ads later. But right now, I'm not finding a place where the ads are included. And so I think that's probably, as a business owner, if you are thinking about, if you're not advertising or making changes to your site, right? Maybe just making sure you're pulling that code off, because if it is impacting performance, but you're not getting any of the benefit of the actual ad revenue, then that doesn't seem to be super useful.
Yeah,
Robert,
that's right.
Yeah, sorry, Georgi.
Just to build up on what you said, that's right. They might be loading for other users. You might not be the target user for these ads. Who knows? But the scripts are still loading, so they're impacting the user experience.
So I might not be in the market for a miso cheesecake, but I think I am after looking at the photos. So I might need those ingredients or cooking supplies. Robert, what's your take on the initial look of the website? So if we go back to, I'm going to pull it back up here. So there we go. So back to Sweeten My Life. What are you thinking in terms of the UI of the homepage?
I love that I get to be the pretty one here. Talk about the pretty sites. This may be my favorite site that we talk about today. I'm an avid cook. I love searching for recipes. This does everything exactly as it should. The search is on top, and you can just scroll down, hit the recipes right away. From a user experience perspective, this is what a site should do. The call to actions are throughout the entire homepage. Search for something, click on something, you're there. People keep cheesecake. There you go, Brent. You're
You
set.
can tell what's on my mind right now.
But I mean, that's how that should work. Websites have gone from being, especially for a lot of the content we're talking about, shopping, recipes, documentation. They've gone from being an interesting entertainment experience to being. We just need the information, and the search engines are scraping them as such. So when you go to Alexa or Siri or all that, they're trying to pull just the main details, because if we want an online web experience, it's not an experience to be like fireworks and everything just so I can figure out how to make the most awesome creme brulee. I just want to know how to make it.
Awesome. Carolyn, on this site, I'll take a little twist. I definitely want to hear how it's doing with SEO, but I saw this question in chat as well as on the Q&A around how is voice search kind of impacting SEO. I would imagine a recipe website might get crawled or referenced in some way for, voice search, people that are cooking. I'm just imagining, I really don't cook, but I imagine if I were to cook, if I were Robert and I was in the kitchen with my, both hands are, busy with the actual making of food, and I'm like asking my phone, hey, find me a recipe for a miso cheesecake, maybe this Sweeten My Life would come up as the result. Can you kind of comment on how voice search impacts SEO for a site like this, if it does at all, in terms of how you think about approaching it?
So I would imagine, especially for recipes, that having recipe schema on your site in the JSON LD in the top, which most of at least I know she's using Yoast. So I know that Yoast has a lot of different schemas. But when we do provide that schema, we put the schema contents in the head in the JSON LD, and there's a technical explanation for why that's good, but let's just go with it's important and it's good. So having the correct schema, explaining that and structuring that recipe in a way that makes it easy for the search engine to just kind of grab it and regurgitate it back via voice would be the way to go. The voice results tend to be the ones that come up as the direct answer, the 0-click, it just answered your question kind of thing at the top. As far as is voice like shifting the landscape, 5-7 years ago, people were worried that voice was going to change the landscape, but people just haven't adopted it the way it was originally anticipated it would be adopted. Though having an accessibility function that you could trigger via voice, like from your phone, would be awesome. I don't know if there's a thing that does that. Hold on, I gotta turn off my little heater. It got cold here, so I had to get my little space heater on my desk. Not directly search related, but accessibility related. If I had a reliable way of saying, while someone's on this page, can we set up a worker or something that will get the phone to start reading out the recipe, that would be pretty game changing for recipes. But as far as search in general goes, it's wonderful to have. You should always have good schema on your pages regardless, but I don't think voice is going to be a big mover in terms of especially this coming holiday shopping season, if that's helpful.
So still a little early on major voice, but probably just good SEO is probably going to be beneficial for voice too, right?
Yes. Good SEO and text on the page. Burying things in images is not helpful. It's never helpful, but it's especially not helpful for voice, because voice relies very heavily on the text that is actually on the page, and then having good HTML markup so that it's easy and understandable for the bots to understand where that little bit of text that you're looking for fits in to the hierarchy of the text. So one of the examples with some of the scraping that I did a while ago when I was doing a case study, the people specifically wanted a step-by-step instruction on how to, I think it was change the oil in a car. The site that ranked number 1 for that had the HTML code on the page was like directory listing and directory items, whereas the page that actually got the, the trophy position had ordered list item 1, list item 2. So having the correct HTML that validates and is proper for that application is going to be, I think, the most beneficial.
Awesome.
That probably sounded really academic.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's a good good answer about SEO, and obviously just like on the, I think this site when I browse through looked like it's doing pretty good in terms of SEO, right?
Yeah,
with the blog.
I would just say, like in the meta description, she doesn't say that she's a pastry chef, but she says it in a lot of other places, and she also says it in her Pinterest description. So I would just try to marry up what the language is, the messaging on the social media sites and the websites, so that there's some parity there, so that they're marrying each other. And then also make sure that, because there aren't a lot of backlinks to the site, it looks like it's pretty new, make sure that when you're dropping links to your site from other places on the web, social media profiles, whatever, that you're using your preferred variant of your domain. So if your preferred variant is https://domain.com/, that's what you use. What you don't want to have is creating a bunch of backlinks from around the internet that have to go through a 301 the second they hit your page. It's not a death blow, but it's not ideal.
For all the artificial intelligence, computers are still pretty dumb, and they like to be told what to do. And being consistent is absolutely the best way to make them happy.
They do appreciate consistency. They're like little children. They like routines and reliability.
Little puppies.
All right, so we have 2 sites left to review. So we're going to go a little bit more lightning round. Maybe just get 1 or 2 of y'all's feedback on these next 2 sites. So this is a photography website. We will start with the UI UX on this one and maybe just do performance. So photography, I imagine images are probably going to be important on this site. Robert, what's your first impression?
Hold on, let me go through all the madness, all the homework I've done for this. Let me go to the storytelling through the lens. Oh, so this was such a beautiful site to look at until I tried to click on anything and it didn't do anything. So I'm like, again, because it's a phone and it's the first thing I'm going to go to, I start scrolling down and it's like a camera icon with newborn photography capturing all the little details. So I tap and I tap. Hold on, everyone. I keep tapping and nothing happens. I'm done. I mean, there are 1,000 million other sites for, photography, and someone did not take the time to make that engaging for me. And that's and Google solves all those headaches about looking for the next site.
So maybe when we're on the homepage and we're here at newborn photography, this should be clicking into the newborn photography section, right? Yeah.
Well, why waste all that space on the homepage, whether it's in a traditional web browser or on your mobile device of choice? Click, 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 tap, 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 click, click, click. Whatever we call today. My daughter told me things slap or they don't, so I don't know what's going on anymore. So I want when I touch my phone, things to slap.
I just want to. I love this. Like sometimes the lead is buried. I just love this copy. Like milk drunk babies are usually the best to photograph. Like again, I'm not a new mother that is hiring a photographer, but I just like that line just feels like it would catch my attention. Like, oh, milk drunk babies. I know what that means.
I would like to confirm for the world that Brent is a milk drunk baby.
Carolyn, what were you going to say on this site?
Oh, just when buttons don't work the way you expect them to work on the homepage, but there are subsequent deep pages, it tends to be the fault of, well, not necessarily the fault. It's the theme that got bought, and it was too complicated to figure out how to make the changes to the buttons, so the buttons didn't get changed, is what I'm guessing the problem was.
Georgi, performance, like photography website, maybe just give me like one insight on the performance of this.
Right. So yeah, as you probably guessed, it's about pictures and images being served. So they have plenty of opportunities to be improved. Generally, the website is like having nice performance, but it's not where it can be. And it's all about like optimizing images, putting them on the right container for the right device, like optimizing the quality, putting them on CDN, and even putting the whole HTML on CDN, because like these type of websites, they can be consumed also from geos that are like far away from where the hosting is. So putting like the whole HTML on edge caching would actually help, because I checked that generally the world map for this website seems pretty red in terms of how the time to first byte is served and how the images are loaded. So they're pretty slow anywhere outside of Europe and East US. Even the West US is like dark yellow. So that's like very good opportunity to basically improve the time to first byte. And you have also a little bit of third-party JavaScript that can be improved on these websites. But yeah, first images, then time to first byte, and then JavaScript.
Very cool. Well, so panelists, I know we had a fifth website. I'm getting the signals from the backstage team that our next speaker is ready to rock and roll, and there are some time constraints. So I just want our audience to give us a quick round of applause for Carolyn, Georgi, and Robert for giving us such amazing insights on these websites. I know I took a lot, even thinking about our own website, things that I'm going to go back and look at in terms of performance, in terms of SEO. We're going to be beefing up our usage of that Yoast plugin, so Yoast is happy. I don't want Yoast upset with me and my business. So looking forward to that, and really appreciate you all hanging out with us today and sharing some of your knowledge with us. And so up next, we've got Andy Crestodina and Jennifer Buzza is going to be hosting, and he's going to be talking about how to use AI for SEO, better content, and higher rankings with ChatGPT. So talk about a topic that is on fire right now. So stay tuned. We've got Andy coming up here in just a few moments. And thank you for tuning in to the Prepathon. More amazing content on the way. And thanks again to our amazing panelists. We'll see you all on the next session.
Thanks, Cloudways, Yoast, Brent, Carolyn, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks.